What if the very core of your existence, the self you believe to be permanent and unchanging, is actually a fragile illusion? A story told by your mind, stitched together from fragments of memory, sensation, and thought? Imagine for a moment that this self is not who you truly are, but rather a ghost haunting the corridors of consciousness, a fading echo in the vast emptiness of experience. For centuries, humanity has held tightly to the idea of a singular I, an inner essence that observes, judges, and defines every moment of our lives. This I feels so real, so undeniable, that to question its existence seems almost heretical. Yet beneath this certainty lies a profound mystery, one that philosophers, mystics, and scientists have grappled with across time and culture. Look to the ancient teachings of the East. The Buddhists speak of anatta, the no-self. This concept shatters the illusion of permanence. The self is not a fixed entity, but a constantly flowing river, never the same from one moment to the next. Thoughts, feelings, sensations arise and fade like waves on the ocean, yet we cling to the idea of a solid I that remains untouched beneath the surface. This attachment to a permanent self is the root of suffering. The West, too, has wrestled with these questions. Descartes declared, "I think, therefore I am," anchoring existence in the certainty of the thinking self. But even this I is questioned by modern philosophy and science. Is the self truly the thinker, or just the story the mind tells itself about the thinker? Are we more than mere narrators trapped in our own cognitive loops? Neuroscience peels back the layers further. The brain is not a single unified self, but a sprawling network of neurons firing in concert. Memories, emotions, decisions. They come from different parts of this network, sometimes conflicting, sometimes harmonizing. The self is the brain's best guess, a narrative constructed to bring order to chaos. The mind, then, is a storyteller weaving coherence from the chaos of sensations and impulses. In some cases, this narrative fractures. Dissociative identity disorder, depersonalization, and other conditions reveal the mind's capacity to split and multiply the sense of self. What once seemed indivisible is revealed as composite, fragile, mutable. This fragility hints at the profound plasticity of identity, that I is more fluid than fixed. Enter the digital age, and the self fractures still more. Online identities multiply and fragment. We craft avatars, personas, carefully curated profiles. Artificial intelligence mimics our language, our preferences, our voices. Virtual realities offer new bodies, new ways to be. The boundaries between self and other, real and artificial, blur into obscurity. This fragmentation reveals a deep truth. The self as a singular, permanent identity no longer holds. It is obsolete. But this obsolescence is not an ending. It is a transformation, a shedding of old skins. When the self dissolves, what remains? Connection, presence, the pure experience of being. Imagine standing at the edge of a vast ocean of consciousness. The self is not an island, but a wave, rising, cresting, falling, and merging back into the whole. To cling to the wave as separate is to miss the ocean entirely. To embrace the fluidity of self is to step into freedom, freed from ego's grip, freed from the need to defend, justify, or hold on to a fixed identity. This freedom opens space for compassion, creativity, and a deeper harmony with life. Consider the paradox of existence. The more tightly we grasp our self, the more it eludes us. But when we loosen our grip, paradoxically, the self expands. Not as a bounded thing, but as an infinite flow. Practices like meditation offer glimpses into this truth. Watching thoughts arise and pass, we see their impermanence. The I behind the thoughts fades into the background, revealing a vast, silent presence. This presence is not separate from the world, but intimately interwoven with all that is. It is the still point where duality dissolves. Subject and object merge, time collapses, and only the pure now remains. In letting go of the fixed self, we do not lose ourselves. We discover a self beyond self, a boundless, formless awareness that flows through all things. This awareness is the root of empathy, for it recognizes itself in others. So the concept of self is obsolete, not because we cease to exist, but because who we are is far greater, far more mysterious than any fixed identity can contain. This is not a loss, but a liberation, an invitation to wake up from the dream of separateness and step into the living mystery of existence. In this awakening, we find that the self was never truly alone. It was always a node in the vast network of life, connected through unseen threads of energy, emotion, and consciousness. The future calls for a new understanding of identity, one that embraces multiplicity, interconnection, and transformation. It invites us to move beyond the ego's narrow lens, to perceive ourselves as expressions of the cosmic dance. Here lies the promise of peace, not in possession of a self, but in surrender to the eternal flow.